Okay, can everybody hear me all right? Right. Yes, I think as Anne said, the relationship between the Quaker Truth and Integrity Group and NJPN started, I think, about 3 years ago. Just to explain that within Quakers there's obviously what we call centrally managed work done, which is done by the offices of Friends. So there are paid staff, and until 2020 I was one of them. I used to work in an organisation, or part of it, called the Quaker Peace and Social Witness. And through them, there has always been a very close liaison, particularly in terms of peace work, with organisations like Pax Christi, particularly Pax Christi. So, in terms of making change within the world, as Quakers, we've always realised that we need to work with others, and we've done the best that we can, and I think other organisations have done that the same. But what we also have is a system of where there are things which we call Friends find that they have a concern, they want to work on, but they aren't things that can be done within the paid environment, then those groups can be established and can then be approved by Britain Yearly Meeting itself. And I'm now I'm the clerk of, you would say chair, of one of those organisations, which is the Quaker Truth and Integrity Group. And that was established round about, when it grew out of real concerns over the kind of messaging that was being done as a consequence of Brexit, things that different people were saying that was either true or not true, and then carried on into the premiership of Boris Johnson. And the feeling that there was this sense that people had, that certain people had, that the rules about integrity, the rules about telling the truth didn't apply to them, they didn't need to, they could do things differently. So we were established with the aim of working towards truth and integrity within public affairs. So there was a whole range of things that we were going to do, including talking to MPs, writing to those people who we thought had upheld truth and integrity and encouraging them, as well as holding seminars. And we wanted to work particularly on an interchurch and interfaith basis. That got stopped to a certain extent because we kind of ran into massive change within the world, all of which you're aware of. We had the uprising, the events of October 2023, and the following year we then had the election of certain Mr. Trump. And the changes that have taken place internationally and locally as a consequence of that, and the changes which have taken place in terms of what people think is okay and the way that behaviour can be, has been massive. So one of the things that we've been setting ourselves to have a think about is what we do next and how we deal with that. So Anne managed to come to a seminar that we ran this week. We were looking at, so this might sound a bit downbeat, but one of the things that we're aware of is that we could continue talking about truth and integrity as it relates to parliamentarians, as it relates to what's going on in this country, till the cows come home. But if we ignore the fact that there has been a rise in people attracted to a different kind of politics than perhaps most of us would like, then all that's going to happen is if they do get into power and we've done nothing, anything we do now will bear no fruit whatsoever, it will be completely ignored. So we aren't the only people who are thinking along those lines. I know that those sorts of things have been raised, that concerns have been raised, particularly by Pope Leo. There's concerns being raised by other faiths. So what we're looking at trying to do is recognising that actually there's a message we need to tell as people of faith. And I think quite often we've told ourselves that message within our own faith, but we haven't multiplied the effect that we can have by talking together. And it really is important, I think, that we now grasp the opportunity that we've got to do more things together. There are differences between us, there always will be differences. But actually that's part of what makes us human, is working out how we have those differences and where we find those similarities. So the work that we're trying to do is a whole part of one of the reasons why, when I was invited to be part of the executive committee, I said yes. I have spent my last year learning, because until I came to the conference I'd never heard of Catholic social teaching. I keep asking a certain person to let me have her slides, and they have not yet so far been forthcoming, but there we go. But I think, yes, essentially, I think we are in dark times. Don't want to be a bit miserable about this, because I don't lose hope. I just think, right, well, we just gird our loins and get on with things. But I don't think that the next 10, 15, 20 years are going to be very nice in this country. And I think we have the opportunity to speak out and to tell a different story, and to tell that story in a way that it can be heard by people of faith, but also of people of no faith. And I'm very conscious that in Quakers, if we talk about what we believe, we will instantly go into, well, we have these testimonies and we believe that there's that of God in everyone, therefore we believe in equality. Well, I can't get halfway through that sentence without talking to the people in Birkenhead where I came from before they've switched off. I need to talk to them in their language and what they understand, and refer back to things that they've faced. So what you hear, and I hear it again and again, is, oh, the NHS is running out of money. Fine, we need to look at how we fund it. Oh, we're not having any more of my taxes. We're not making the connections between what happens and how people need to be looked after. And it isn't political. I know people tend to fall into a kind of a party political, oh, well, we're best placed to do that. I think we need to have that conversation separately. And it's then up to every individual then to make the decision about where that leads them, about who does that. But I think this, at the moment for us and for me, it's about learning what I can about other faiths, and then looking to find where the commonalities are and how we can work together. And there's a whole raft of information about artificial intelligence as well, which I won't go into now, because you know once I start, I won't stop. But roughly to say that I have been incredibly welcomed in this group, which I knew nothing about until I started coming to the conference. And I really do feel I'm having to learn an awful lot, and it's challenging my theology as well, which has always been quite poor. So it's doing me a power of God, and what I hope is to reflect that back and to work together to see if we can increase what we're trying to do and improve what we're trying to do.